What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the Wraparound. We're going to be breaking down the NHL action going down on Thursday, October 16th, 2025. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games that I absolutely love, head to Pickdawgz.com. Click the Experts tab at the top of the page. For me today, I got a bunch of plays on the board. Mostly NHL. I do have my NHL power play on the board. We smashed it with the Blackhawks yesterday. Hoping to keep that going today. And also got a Homers in Hockey 5-pack. My 4 best bets from the NHL, as well as my top play from Major League Baseball, all in one package. But this is a great time to jump on something long term. You know, it'll get you the best bang for your buck if you're looking to bet on a bunch of different stuff this weekend. The 3-day pass gets you my entire college football card, my entire NFL card, with MLB and NHL in between, and the week, well, that'll get you to NBA opening night next week as well. So make sure that you jump on board. Remember to use that promo code PICK at checkout and get 15% off your purchase. But we're here to talk about an 11-game NHL card on Thursday. We managed to pull one out of the fire on Wednesday with a couple of late winners, but hopefully we can build on that and make some money today. So let's not waste any more time. You guys know the drill. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game comes to us from the Canadian Tire Center, where the Ottawa Senators play host to the Seattle Kraken. And while Ottawa, did start leaving Maryland yesterday, I didn't like, how Ottawa looked in that game. Maryland got roughed up for 7 goals by the Buffalo Sabres of all teams. And now, you're probably getting Linus Ullmark in goal for this game. But let's face it, Ullmark hasn't necessarily been all that sharp either. The Senators have dropped back-to-back starts from Ullmark as well. They just haven't been all that sharp on the defensive end of the ice. Seattle dropped their road opener in Montreal, but it's a tough place to go on the road and win. And I think this is a great price with the Seattle Kraken just to fade Ottawa in their current form. I think that Seattle can come in and get the job done at a great plus price. So I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I'm going to take them on the money line. Now we head to the Nationwide Arena for a match between the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Colorado Avalanche. And while I get, Columbus, tempting as a home underdog, just don't think this is a spot I can back them in. I know that this was a great Columbus team to back and got us a lot of value last year, but we're still only 3 games into the season for the Blue Jackets. They're 1-2. They've shown us some good results and some frustrating results as well. But you're going up against a Colorado team that is just one shootout loss away from being 4-0 to start the year. They have been every bit as good as advertised so far this year. We talk a lot about, or at least I've talked a lot about, the Avalanche and kind of how their season ended last year and how this team was frustrated with how it ended and how I thought this Avalanche team was going to be a bit of a team on a mission. And it's kind of played out like that early on this season. They've been able to hold down the fort with Scott Wedgwood, who's technically their backup in goal for the first few games of the season. Makes me wonder how scary this Avalanche team is going to be when Mackenzie Blackwood comes back into the fold, in the next few weeks. So I'm gonna go with the Colorado Avalanche in this one. I know it's on the road. I get it, but like I said, until a team gives me a reason to not look at Colorado here, I'm probably gonna be backing them a fair bit this season. So give me the Avalanche in this one on the money line. Now we're going to the Wells Fargo Center for this matchup between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Winnipeg Jets, and another matchup where the line kind of looks funky, but until I have a reason to think that the Philadelphia Flyers are a capable hockey club that can beat up on a team like Winnipeg, they're not going to see my money. I still think Philadelphia. I know they got the win over Florida last time out. That's all well and good. But I still think this is a team that's rocking with 2 backup caliber goaltenders in Samuel Ersson and Dan Vladar as their 1-2 in this rotation. For me, the Winnipeg Jets, they still, for me, have the better goaltending tandem here. I'm probably going to see Connor Hellebuck here. And even if you see Eric Comrie in this matchup, I still think he's a step up over whoever Philadelphia sends out in this one. I just think the Winnipeg Jets are the better team. And while, Winnipeg a stronger home team than they are on the road, they were still the best road team in terms of record on the road last year. So I'm going to go with the Jets to win this one at a great price in the money line. Now we get the Montreal Canadiens from the Bell Center against the Nashville Predators. And, the thing about the Preds is that, I went into that Leafs game thinking that they were going to give up some goals because, the Preds are still the Preds, who were one of the worst and most disappointing road teams in the NHL last season. I thought, well, you know what? Maybe they'll be competitive, and they were, but they still lost that game 7-4 and got absolutely blitzed on the road. Right now, the road win over the Ottawa Senators is just not aging well. And now you play a Montreal team that played their much better hockey at home last season. They've won 3 in a row. They've just beat on a pretty good Seattle Kraken team at home. They got the overtime win in their last game. And I think that Montreal is in a great spot at home in this one, catching a Predators team that could easily be one of the worst defensive teams on the road this season again. So I'm going to roll with the Montreal Canadiens to get the job done at home in this one. Now we go to the Prudential Center for this matchup between the New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers. And, not a great spot for me for the Florida Panthers. On the second half of a back-to-back here with likely Daniil Tarasov as the goalie in this one I mentioned earlier. In that Flyers matchup that Tarasov got the start, and he didn't look great against the Philadelphia Flyers of all teams. Now you take on a New Jersey Devils team that is still a very sound, solid, hockey club just across the board. They're solid defensively. They take care of the puck. They've got solid goaltending in Jacob Markstrom. And I think the Devils at home are favored for a reason over the defending champions. I think that it's just a Devils team that is in a great spot to get a win over Florida. So I'm going to take the Devils in this one. I'm going to take New Jersey on the money line. Now we head to Scotiabank Arena for this matchup between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Rangers. I mentioned it with Toronto in that game against Nashville. I like the offense and the upside that this offense for the Maple Leafs have. Not so much the defense. Anthony Stolarz is still a solid goalie and looks to be their number one in Toronto for the at least the next couple of years after signing that extension. But it still has not been as sharp as he was early on last season. Now the Rangers have great goaltending in Igor Shesterkin, and Jonathan Quick, and the goals against average for the Rangers have been solid early on this season. However, the offense for the Rangers has been lackluster, but I think that the Rangers will still score a couple of goals in this game. I think the Maple Leafs will be able to get to Igor Shesterkin or Jonathan Quick, whoever gets the start here. I just think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and the Rangers have been more, offensively inclined and have been able to score more on the road this season. Doesn't say a whole lot when you've been shut out in each of your first 3 home games, but I think we're going to get some goals in this one, so I like the over between the Maple Leafs and the Rangers. Now we head to the UBS Arena for this matchup between the New York Islanders and the Edmonton Oilers. Another matchup where until I see something from the New York Islanders, it's going to be hard to back them, especially against, the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers still your 2-time defending Western Conference champions. The thing about the New York Islanders is that they're going to get decent prices because they have a world-class goalie in Ilya Sorokin. But, last I checked, you got to be able to outscore the other team, and the offense just has not been working for the New York Islanders early on this season. And while Sorokin is still a world-class goaltender, he hasn't necessarily been the sharpest either in each of his first 3 games, giving up 4 goals in each of those games as well. I think at a certain point, Sorokin will get it together and lock in and be able to put up some solid performances in goal for the Islanders. But at this number, with the Islanders in their current form, until they show me something, I got to keep going the other way. So I'm going to take the Oilers to win this one on the money line. Or if the price gets a little bit too heavy, you can take them in regulation to shave down that money line price. Now we're going to the American Airlines Center for this matchup between the Dallas Stars and the Vancouver Canucks. And, the Vancouver Canucks have been, decent in spots, but I haven't liked what I've seen from them in their last couple games. They looked really good in that opener against the Calgary Flames at home. But since then, they've been outscored 8-3 in their last 2 losses. You go to Dallas, take on a Dallas team that has scored 5 goals in each of their first 3 games so far this season. They look really good, and against tough competition as well. Against Winnipeg, Colorado, and Minnesota, 3 teams that they're going to have to go through to win the Central Division this season once again. So, for me, the Dallas Stars are back to looking like one of those teams that's a front runner in the Western Conference. They're really strong out of the gate. I still like the goaltending that they have in Dallas with Jake Ottinger. So I'm going to go with the Stars to win this one in regulation. I'll put a little bit on Stars puck line as well here. Now we're going for this matchup between the Golden Knights and the Bruins from the T-Mobile Arena. And Vegas, a heavy favorite here for good reason. They've been one of the better home teams in the NHL since their inception in the league almost a decade ago. But the problem for me here with the Vegas Golden Knights is that I just don't trust this team to lay big prices or to lay the puck line, because there's been a couple of spots this season where they've just fallen flat. They've allowed teams to hang around. They did get the road win over Calgary last time out 4-2, but we've seen them blow that 5-3 lead against the Los Angeles Kings and lose that game in a shootout. They allowed the San Jose Sharks to take them to overtime. They lost 2-1 on the road to the Seattle Kraken in overtime as well. This is a Boston Bruins team that's 3-1 so far this season and 3-1 on the puck line. They were able to keep it close against the Tampa Bay Lightning on the road in their last matchup. They battled Tampa Bay hard in that one. And I think Boston can at least keep this a one-goal game. I think it's going to be like a 5-4 kind of game. I think it's going to be fairly high scoring. But in the end, I think the Bruins can at least keep it within a goal. So I'm going to take the Bruins here plus the 1.5 goals. Now we're heading to the Crypto.com arena for a matchup between the Los Angeles Kings and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And another matchup where I like the dog here. I'm going to take a shot here on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Los Angeles Kings, I said it coming into the year, are a team that I expect some defensive and goaltending regression from this season. We started to see it. They barely snuck out that win over Vegas, like we just mentioned, and now have taken back-to-back losses to the Jets and the Wild. They've been decent on the puck line as well, but a lot of the games where they won on the puck line, they were underdogs. Each of their last 3 games have been 1-goal games and all as underdogs. Well, now they're back at home where, they were really fantastic last year, but are laying a hefty price. They're laying, or you'd have to lay a puck line to get any sort of value with the Los Angeles Kings, and I'm just not buying them as a heavy favorite here. The Pittsburgh Penguins also 3-1 on the puck line this season. They have a nice road win over the Rangers. They battled close against the Ducks, even losing in that last matchup. The Ducks are going to be a solid team at home, but I think the Penguins are really, really strong. Going to be a really tough out early on this season. And for me, this is just about the Kings being overfavored, or overpriced, overvalued at home here. So I'm going to take the Penguins here, plus 1.5. And I'm going to take a little bit on Penguins money line. I didn't necessarily love the Bruins on the money line. I do like the 1-goal game there. But here, I like the Penguins plus 1.5. And I think they have a great shot to win it outright. So give me the Penguins with a sprinkle on the money line. And our final game on Thursday's card takes us to the Honda Center, where the Anaheim Ducks take on the Carolina Hurricanes. And I like the over in this game. I think that, the Anaheim Ducks are going to be a tough out at home, like I mentioned. They're a great team as a home dog. And I think that they're going to be able to provide some value in spots. And we've seen high-scoring games from Anaheim in a couple of spots already this season. 7-6 win over San Jose, a 4-3 win, like I mentioned, over Pittsburgh. Now, Carolina, for me, is still known as having one of the better goaltending rooms in the NHL. But they've still given up 3 goals in a couple of spots this season against the Flyers and the Devils. I think the only reason they gave up 1 goal last time out was because they were facing the San Jose Sharks. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong, this Carolina team still has one of the best goaltending rooms in the NHL with Frederik Andersen and Peter Kochetkov. But I still think they can give up some goals here. And I could easily see a game that hits 7 goals when all is said and done in this one. So I'm going to take the over between the Ducks and the Hurricanes, an exciting one to round things out. That's it. That's all your NHL action for Thursday, October 16th, 2025. Again, if you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium by clicking the Experts tab at the top of the page. And remember to use the promo code PICK at checkout and get 15% off your purchase. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon.